The Amazon River is facing a tough situation with century-low levels of water causing a record drought.
A huge discovery of gold in Turkey has taken the world by surprise. In the eastern Agri province, a massive gold treasure weighing 99 tons and valued at $6 billion was uncovered. This find, revealed by Turkey's Industry and Technology Minister, is being called one of the biggest accidental gold discoveries in recent history. The treasure, located in Sogut, a central western area, is worth more than the GDP of many countries, showing just how much potential this discovery holds for the economy. The news, confirmed by the Turkish news agency Anadolu, has caused a huge stir both locally and globally. Just a while back, Turkey's Minister for Energy and Natural Resources had set ambitious targets to increase the country's annual gold production to 100 tons within 5 years. This incredible discovery is right in line with those goals. Over the next 2 years, the gold will be mined, and it's expected to make a huge contribution to Turkey's economy. As the treasure is extracted, it's expected to give Turkey's economy a big boost, especially at a time when the global financial situation is facing tough challenges. The news has even led to a spike in share prices of Kübraya's fertilizer production company, proving just how much this discovery is already impacting the local economy. The world is filled with mysterious places where ancient secrets are waiting to be discovered. One such place is the Euphrates River, once the lifeblood of a thriving region, now running dry in parts, revealing something extraordinary that no one saw coming.
Millions in Syria and Iraq are facing water shortages as the region's longest river, the Euphrates, dries up.
As the riverbeds shrink, a stunning discovery has emerged, what's being called the Golden Mountains. This find has captivated both experts and visitors as it marks the beginning of a new chapter for this ancient land. The region, once nourished by the river, now tells a different story as the water vanishes. The Euphrates, alongside the Tigris, was one of the two main rivers that shaped Mesopotamia, the birthplace of civilization. Located to the west of the Tigris, the Euphrates has always held a deep place in history and religion. It's even mentioned in the Bible as part of the land promised to Abraham and his descendants, making it more than just a river. It's woven into a grand historical and spiritual narrative that's been passed down through generations. The name Euphrates itself is fascinating, with several theories about where it comes from. Some say it originates from the Old Persian word Ufratu, or the Avestan word Huperethua, meaning easy to cross. Others suggest it comes from Kurdish, where fere means wide, re means flowing water, and hat means flowing, leading to fererehat, or wide flowing water. Ancient languages also had their own names for the river, like Baranun in Sumerian and Puratu in Akkadian, hinting at a deep historic connection that might even go back before the river's association with Iran. Throughout history, the Euphrates has been crucial to life in the region. It brought water to Sumer, home to the first civilization around 3000 BC. Ancient cities like Mari, Sipar, Nippur, Uruk, and Ur thrived along its banks, benefiting from its fertile soil and abundant water. Stretching about 1,730 miles, 2,780 kilometers, the river begins from the Kara and Murat rivers in modern-day Turkey and flows southeast through Syria and Iraq. It eventually joins the Tigris, forming the Arvan Shat al-Arab, which empties into the Persian Gulf. It's no secret that the Euphrates River has been a lifeline for civilizations for thousands of years, but in recent times its flow has become alarmingly fragile. The primary culprit? A network of hydroelectric dams in Turkey and Iran, which are throttling the river's supply. Add to that the relentless grip of seasonal droughts, and you've got a recipe for disaster. Vast sections of the riverbed, hidden for centuries, are now exposed, revealing an eerie reminder of how much has changed. These shifts aren't just environmental curiosities, they're harbingers of a looming crisis, one that spells trouble for an already climate-stressed region. Here's the grim reality. Experts predict Iraq could see a staggering 15 to 20% decline in rainfall by the century's end. For a region already grappling with water scarcity, that's not just a statistic, it's a death sentence for the Euphrates and Tigris rivers, which are vital to life in the area, and the consequences are devastating. As freshwater levels plummet, saltwater from the Persian Gulf is creeping into the river's deltas, turning once fertile farmland into barren wastelands. Crops are failing, livestock is dying, and for many farmers, the land they've worked for generations can no longer sustain them. Families are being forced to abandon their ancestral homes, selling their livestock at heartbreakingly low prices just to survive. What makes it even worse? The deafening silence from the authorities, with little to no support from the government. People are left wondering what the future holds. Will there be relief, or is this just the beginning of a new normal? One thing is clear: without urgent action, the Euphrates may become a tragic symbol of environmental neglect, and the region's people will pay the ultimate price. The situation is also making tensions between rural and urban populations in Iraq worse. Rural refugees are flooding cities like Basra, where makeshift plastic shantytowns are springing up along the borders. These newcomers often struggle to find stable work, with most jobs being temporary, like truck driving or construction, leaving many of them unable to meet their basic needs. The crisis seems to be leading toward the conflict predicted in Islamic prophecies. According to hadiths, the Euphrates would eventually dry up, revealing hidden treasures that would spark war and conflict. While the treasures haven't yet appeared, the underlying conflict, driven by environmental stress and political instability, is becoming more real every day. As the Euphrates continues to shrink, the world watches. Once a symbol of life and prosperity, it's now becoming a sign of change. The golden mountains that have emerged from its dry bed may just be the start of a much larger, more complicated story unfolding in the heart of Mesopotamia. The environmental, social, and political consequences of these changes will shape the region for generations, and the Euphrates may continue to unveil its secrets in ways no one could ever predict. Tensions are rising in Basra, southern Iraq, and it's not hard to see why. A wave of newcomers has flooded into the area, and locals feel the pressure. They see these people as a burden on public resources, blaming them for everything from criminal activities to cultural clashes that don't align with local values. Instead of tackling their own political failures, municipal officials shift the blame to these migrants, making them scapegoats for everyday struggles like power outages and fuel shortages. The situation doesn't look like it's getting better anytime soon. Southern Iraq's environmental challenges are piling up, with salinity levels in riverbanks rising steadily. Over 85 miles of riverbank have already been ruined, and the damage is creeping north. Experts warn that these conditions are just the tip of the iceberg, hinting at even more alarming problems ahead. Aid organizations are sounding the alarm. In just a few months, up to 12 million people in Iraq and Syria could lose access to basic needs like food, water, and energy. Meanwhile, a growing crisis is brewing in Egypt. A massive hydroelectric project by Ethiopia and Sudan threatens Egypt's fish farms, putting 30 million people at risk of displacement. If that happens, it would become the largest refugee crisis in human history. Even if the project is stopped, Egypt still faces huge challenges. A booming population and worsening environmental conditions loom large. While agreements on water sharing might buy some time, they won't fix the underlying problems. True solutions demand much deeper cooperation and long-term planning. Amid all this turmoil, the world continues to rely heavily on fossil fuels, which only makes the climate crisis worse. Time to act on climate change is slipping away, and the impact on social and cultural norms is becoming more evident. Iraq is already showing signs of how climate instability can tear at a country's social fabric. When survival is on the line, people do whatever it takes to protect their families. Over the past decade and a half, ISIS has taken advantage of this desperation, offering money and protection to those left hungry and hopeless by failing governments. It's easy to imagine other groups using the same tactics, especially during droughts, which inevitably lead to displacement and more conflict. The riverbanks that once gave birth to civilization 8,000 years ago could now be signaling the start of its collapse. It's a painful irony, considering the region's historical significance. Water rights and usage remain hot-button issues in the region. Turkey's southeastern Anatolia project, launched in the 1990s, is the country's largest development initiative, involving 22 dams and 19 power plants. But economic struggles in Turkey's southeast, particularly among the Kurdish minority, have made the situation even more tense. In Syria, the Euphrates Dam, built in the 1970s, created Lake Assad, which is vital for irrigating cotton fields. Syria has also built dams on its tributaries and continues to expand its water infrastructure. Iraq, with 7 dams of its own, paid little attention to water management under Saddam Hussein. However, since 2003, the country has made it a higher priority. The region faces undeniable challenges from water scarcity, migration, and climate change. As the crisis deepens, it's clear that solving these problems will take more than regional cooperation. For thousands of years, it has been the lifeblood of civilizations, providing water, sustenance, and a foundation for growth. But today, this mighty river is drying up, plunging millions into drought and threatening the region's very existence. Flowing across Turkey, Syria, and Iraq, the Euphrates has been a symbol of life and prosperity for countless generations. This troubling decline, however, isn't entirely unexpected. There's a prophecy tied to the Euphrates, one that seems eerily close to reality. Historically, its role has been unparalleled. It was the heart of the Fertile Crescent, the cradle of civilization, where humanity first learned to farm and build societies. Its waters nurtured the lands that birthed agriculture, influencing cultures across the globe. Once, the Euphrates was a dependable source of clean water, supporting farming and allowing people to flourish. This river also holds a special place in religious texts, being one of the 4 rivers said to flow from the Garden of Eden. In biblical stories, it was more than a waterway. It was a boundary, dividing lands and influencing great wars and migrations. Over the ages, its banks have witnessed the rise and fall of empires, shaping history in profound ways. Stretching over 1,730 miles, the Euphrates begins in the Armenian highlands in Turkey, making it the longest river in Western Asia. Together with the Tigris River, it forms the Fertile Crescent, winding through Turkey's rugged terrains, Syria's plains, and Iraq's deserts before finally meeting the Persian Gulf. Its journey is as remarkable as its history. Sadly, this ancient river is now a shadow of its former self. Water levels are dropping at an alarming rate. In Iraq, large portions of the river have dried up completely, leaving cracked earth where water once flowed. This loss has devastated farming communities, turning fertile lands into wastelands. Without water for irrigation, crops fail, and entire villages are left to endure prolonged drought. The fishing industry has collapsed too, as the remaining water is polluted and undrinkable. The Fertile Crescent, once synonymous with abundance, now stands barren. The Euphrates, which has been the backdrop for countless tales and events, is facing an uncertain future. Among its most fascinating stories is the alleged discovery of King Gilgamesh's burial site. Gilgamesh, a legendary king of Uruk, has his life immortalized in the Epic of Gilgamesh, a masterpiece of ancient Middle Eastern literature written over 4,000 years ago. According to legend, his tomb was built beneath the Euphrates when its waters receded. Uruk, where Gilgamesh reigned, was an ancient city-state on the Euphrates banks, located in modern-day Iraq. Over the years, footage and reports claiming to show his tomb have surfaced, sparking intense curiosity. Yet much of this evidence remains unverified, leaving the story shrouded in mystery. In 2003, German archaeologists led by Jörg Fassbender unearthed what they believed was an ancient tomb, possibly connected to giants of a bygone era. They reportedly found enormous remains and sent them for testing, including carbon dating. However, little has been revealed about these findings, adding to the intrigue. Legends say Gilgamesh was a giant standing 17 feet tall, born of a Sumerian king and a Mesopotamian goddess. Known as a demigod, he ruled Uruk with immense strength and a fearsome reputation. His larger-than-life presence extended beyond physical strength. Gilgamesh's rule was marked by wars, conquests, and at times tyranny. His people, terrified by his might, prayed to the gods for help. In response, the chief god Anu created Enkidu, a wild man molded from clay and divine saliva, to challenge Gilgamesh and balance his power. This clash between Gilgamesh and Enkidu, immortalized in the Epic of Gilgamesh, reflects the struggles of power, humanity, and redemption. It's a tale that continues to captivate, just as the Euphrates River remains a source of wonder even as it fades into history. When Gilgamesh and Enkidu finally met in battle, their clash was nothing short of legendary. It lasted for several days, showcasing a struggle that wasn't just physical but also symbolic. This moment in their story highlighted the delicate balance between the powers of the divine and the mortal, marking a turning point in the epic. In the end, Gilgamesh emerged victorious, but instead of harboring resentment, he was deeply impressed by Enkidu's strength and character. This admiration transformed their relationship into a close friendship. However, when Enkidu eventually passed away, it struck Gilgamesh to his core. His death was more than just a loss. It was a wake-up call that changed the way Gilgamesh viewed life. He began questioning existence itself, pondering the meaning of human achievements when death seemed to be the ultimate, unavoidable end. Enkidu's death didn't just shake Gilgamesh, it changed him. It humbled him, stripping away his arrogance and pushing him to embark on a profound journey. He sought answers to life's greatest mysteries, even daring to explore the possibility of overcoming mortality. For a long time, Gilgamesh's story was dismissed as myth, and many doubted that he had ever been a real historical figure. But things took an unexpected turn with discoveries linked to Fassbender and his team. They didn't just find a burial site, they uncovered an enormous area spanning over 100,000 hectares. Within this vast expanse, they identified structures mentioned in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Fassbender's findings included Babylonian homes and ancient relics buried for thousands of years beneath the desert sands. What made this discovery even more astonishing was its location. A desolate desert doesn't usually come to mind when thinking of such treasures. Adding to the intrigue was the Euphrates River, which plays a significant role in biblical narratives. The discoveries near it seemed to align with ancient prophecies, especially with the prophesied return of the Messiah drawing closer. This connection brought a sense of awe and wonder. The drying up of the Euphrates River also revealed other fascinating finds, including layers of history preserved in the riverbed. Scientists identified 6 distinct historical periods, each marked by unique artifacts. These periods represented civilizations like the Sumerians, Akkadians, Assyrians, Greeks, Byzantines, and even Islamic societies, providing a glimpse into the region's incredible past. In 1968, when Syria constructed the Euphrates Dam, they didn't redirect the river or create artificial lakes in the desert. This caused many ancient sites along the river to be submerged. However, some relics and monuments were preserved. The region near the Euphrates is particularly famous for its Syriac Christian monasteries and extensive cemeteries. On sunny and calm days, the still waters reveal submerged graves. In Raqqa's western district, a few burial sites have been identified along the right bank of the lake. The left bank, however, remains largely unexplored due to its rocky terrain, making excavations difficult. In Iraq, the receding waters of the Euphrates have led to the discovery of ancient cities and monuments. For instance, the ancient city of Talbez was unearthed in Anna, Iraq. Archaeologist Mohammed Jassim noted that low water levels at the Haditha Dam revealed around 80 significant historical structures. Meanwhile, in Iraq's Kurdistan region, the Dohuk Antiquities Department announced a remarkable discovery. A city from the Mitanni Empire, dating back 3,400 years, was uncovered after floodwaters in the Tigris River basin receded. This ancient site had been hidden for centuries, waiting to be revealed. Another breathtaking find tied to the Euphrates' shrinking flow was the ancient city of Zakiku, mentioned in Babylonian records. Its ruins include a palace, a massive wall, and cuneiform inscriptions. Researchers were amazed at how well preserved the mud walls were, despite being underwater for over 40 years. They believe an earthquake that devastated the city buried and protected its remains under debris. Reflecting on these discoveries near the Euphrates, one can't help but wonder what else might be hidden beneath its depths. Each find enriches our understanding of ancient civilizations, their cultures, and their beliefs. These treasures offer a glimpse into humanity's forgotten past, and with every new discovery, our appreciation for history grows deeper. The Euphrates still holds secrets, and we eagerly await what more it has to reveal.